back to the Village Hall from Page to Stage. I am your host, Matt Ogden, and this man right here is the writer of this very musical. It's Mr. Richard Sykes.
Hello.
Today, Rich, we are at Longwood Mechanics Hall, and we are joined by the wonderful Louisa.
Hello.
Excellent. So, Louisa, you are one of our two Mrs. Teas and Coffees ladies in the Village Hall. So tell us about your character and how you're approaching her so far.
Well, Jenny is, as you say, one of the tea ladies opposite Joan.
Yep.
And they're a bit of a comedy double act in a sense. She's quite stern and quite to the point, I would say.
Hell yes.
Yes, and whereas Jenny's a little bit softer and I think a little bit naive in some respects.
That is exactly how she's written. Well done.
So yeah, so she's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one of the lines I actually need to just say, how am I supposed to approach that? Is it this way or is it that way? But I'll come to that.
Honestly, usually,
nice
the differentiation between Jenny and Joan is that Jenny is the softer, more perceptive one, whereas Joan is blunt
She's Joan of Arc.
Absolutely, she will burn for you, but she'll also burn for this Village Hall. She loves it. Whereas Jenny's a little more dispassionate, has got a little more distance, but is equally passionate in her own way.
She's still very eager.
Oh, very.
Yeah, very keen on the Village Hall. And she's part of the committee, right?
She is.
Okay, so her and the comedy duo of Joan.
Mm-hmm.
So what's their kind of day-to-day responsibilities other than the tea? What do they do?
They're never off.
No.
Which I didn't really understand until we got to rehearsal. I thought, blimey, I hope I don't need a wee. They're setting all the chairs up for all the different sessions that are going on, all the different classes, whilst they're having a good old chin wag and whilst they're gossiping about what's going on and who's doing this and whatever. So yeah, clearing all the chairs up, putting all the chairs out, wiping the floor after the yoga class.
Nice,
That's lovely.
sticky.
So yeah, it's...
One is a dinner lady, one is a lollipop lady. So they spend a bit of their career time together as well.
Oh, right.
And same school.
Yeah, so they are thick as thieves, but it means also they're involved in every single bit of gossip that goes on in the village.
Are they the source of the gossip and rumours as well, or then?
Not always. I think they like to make sure it's spread.
So they're always listening in and finding out the information, whether that's in the canteen at the school or crossing the street.
Absolutely.
You can pick up an awful lot with a little tumbler just jammed up to the side of the vestry wall.
I think they're always listening whilst they're in that kitchen as
Oh,
well.
aye, absolutely. Well, we know this because in the previous podcast we mentioned the creative writing group, and they've not been part of the creative writing group, but they've always listened to the stuff that people have been presenting, and have been impressed by people like Freya and her use of a certain technique, and
the bourbon biscuit.
Yeah. Not the bourbon biscuits.
Oh, the literary side.
The literary technique.
Right,
yes.
okay.
The techniques with bourbon biscuits are slightly different.
Yeah. Rolls off the tongue.
So yeah, Jenny and Joan are ever present and just such real beating hearts of this Village Hall. They're great characters. The first I wrote in as part of this. Wow. Yeah, everyone else came after.
So what was their inspiration then? What led you to create Joan and Jenny?
You need to know where my inspiration is.
Yes, our viewers need to know, or listeners.
Genuinely, every single social occasion that I've been to, there's usually a Jenny and Joan. People who are in charge of the kitchen, who are in charge. You will not go near the tea urn without them knowing. And genuinely, there are two specific inspirations, not necessarily for Jenny, but towards Joan.
Okay.
And they are from within the society. And I remember them so fondly. In the old society, I would say. It's moved on a little from there. But when we used to have tea breaks in rehearsals, used to stop halfway through with the tea urn. You used to put 10p into the saucer, and you used to get your tea and your biscuit, and you used to have a chin wag because it was a social activity. You don't do that now. People, I mean, the rehearsals stop for vapes and things like that. Yeah. But with Woodhouse, it doesn't really happen like that, because what people tend to do is take the time in the break to rehearse what they're going to be doing after the break. Some people in Woodhouse take it so seriously that they just do not stop for 2 hours. They will not have a break and will constantly refresh what they're going to be doing in the next one. They don't want to be left behind.
Because you're never off stage, are you finding that when you're at rehearsal, that's it, you are Jenny? Yeah,
pretty much, I think you get your head into it. And like you say, you've got a solid 2 hour rehearsal, so you think, right, you need to get your head into it to become that person, and then you don't have to recap as much, because I think if you get it and you're going with it, then you don't have to go backtracking.
And you're performing it for the whole 2 hours rather than kind of blocking it and then going, oh, okay, well, I've physically set where I'm going to go and now I need to add those elements to it. It sounds like because of it being in the round in particular, you've got to think about your physicality all the time anyway. So are you just kind of constantly thinking, okay, well, this is what Jenny would do, so I'm just going to do this?
Pretty much, yeah. I was knitting last week whilst trying to do my lines. Yeah, literally doing knitting. But yeah,
excellent.
That was interesting.
Yeah, there are many facets to Jenny, but it's one of the reasons that Louisa was the obvious choice. You came to the read-through, didn't you?
Yes.
The first one. You were there for that one as well, weren't you?
Yes.
I mean, that for me was a pivotal night for the Village Hall, in that we didn't know if it was going to work with an audience, but the moment you guys did it, we did. It was as simple as that. We thought, we don't have to change much here. This is going to work. I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into casting that first read. It wasn't just pulled out of thin air, who's going to be able to help us here. We genuinely looked and said, yeah, they'll be fantastic at that. Yeah. Can you talk us through the process of you going through this show, how you start it, and where, and if you can, take us up to the pantomime?
Ooh, crikey.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot.
What's Jenny's journey through this?
So she arrives, obviously, with the rest of the committee at the beginning of the show, from a thunderstorm outside, finally managing to get through the doors, and then thinking, how the hell are we going to run today? Because we've already lost 5 hours, so all those classes they're miserable and outside and soaking wet through, and how on earth is it going to work? And I think Francis comes up with all these ideas, and Joan and Jenny are very, oh no, that's not going to work. And the more she talks about it, the more you're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, we can see this, but Joan's still very, no. And in the end, obviously, we think, right, well, we're going to go with it. So each bit is a case of, right, what's going there and what's going there, and they kind of work together to make it happen as a committee, with Dave and Di, who keep disappearing, obviously. For reasons, yes.
Wonder why.
But yeah, and as it's going along, it kind of, they get into grips of it. Yes, okay, it is working, it is flowing. And I think by the time we get to the live art class, which doesn't quite go as planned, the model is very entertaining.
Is he?
Yes, very entertaining.
You chose your words very carefully.
I am trying, yes. I don't want to give anything away.
It's okay. We can give it.
We have said that we'll do spoilers up to the end of the panto. Okay. So you can tell them about Rocky.
Yeah, so Rocky is sort of sold to Jenny and Joan as this muscle-bound, trophy-winning chap. Like a bodybuilder. And they're very excited because, obviously, of who they are. They think, oof, bit of flesh, we're going to have a bit of fun. And then, obviously, Rocky then turns up and your jaw literally hits the floor. He's definitely, may have been a bodybuilder in his prime, but not anymore.
He's less Rocky Balboa, more Rocky the Biscuit.
Yeah. And Colin, obviously, who's playing Rocky, is hilarious. I can see that part getting a lot bigger, shall we say, every night. I think he will make more of it every night.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've managed to grab one of our fantastic cast as a sort of insert into the podcast. So I hope you don't mind. I'm here with the brilliant Colin Roberts. Hi, Colin. You've forgotten my name?
Yeah.
It's because I've not been at rehearsals much. It's Richard, I wrote the damn thing. That's the one. Colin and I worked together in By George, and you were my Harry to my George. Yeah. One thing that marked George out was that every rehearsal we had was a laugh.
Oh yeah, well it is with this.
It really is with this, and I love watching all the tapes and everything.
The thing about this company, they're all just lovely people.
Yeah, I think the cast this time is spot on, isn't it?
Oh, it's very good.
Some brilliant people in there.
Well, as you know, I went for a vicar.
You did?
And I didn't get it, but I realise why now, because he's absolutely spot on.
He is. Patrick's amazing.
Yeah.
But your character in this is called Rocky.
He is.
And have you had any problem slipping into the role?
None at all.
I didn't think so.
No.
I think you're there was two people in the cast that I said, Now, these roles are kind of specifically written for people. One of them was Mel, who's playing Mel as Mel.
She's fantastic.
Aren't she just?
She's so laid back and she does it so, she's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And her comic timing is perfect.
Well, in By George,
Yes.
that character played in that.
I mean, she didn't have a lot to do in George, did she? All she did was get pushed in the face a couple of times. But I mean...
That's the way she did it.
Oh, yes. She carried it with conviction every time, didn't she?
Yeah, fantastic.
And I suppose it's going to be the same with you and Rocky. I can't imagine you doing this with anything less than full conviction.
Oh, it'll be there. I just had to work out where he came from.
And where's he coming from?
Mardenroyd.
Mardenroyd?
Yeah, Charlotte or Oswald Twist, I'm not really sure.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Why the change of accent? Is it because it's ostensibly comedic?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you give us a bit of Colin, a bit of Rocky?
Well, it depends what you want to know. I mean, I've done this type of thing before.
Hang on, there's a bit of Lancashire in there then. Right, okay.
Oswald Twist, will you see?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Mardenroyd, as you know, is in Yorkshire.
But hang on,
But
Colin.
it's very near to Lancashire.
It is. I'm not denigrating the character at all, but I mean, Rocky doesn't have many lines.
No.
Why did you feel you wanted to give him an accent?
So I wanted to give him some character.
Good man. You do this every time. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you've got a long and distinguished career in theatre, Col. And, well, you've been in an awful lot and worked with an awful lot of people.
Mm.
Can you tell us a bit about where you started?
Oh, just the local groups.
Yeah. But you had a double act for a long while, didn't you?
45 years.
With whom?
Big Mick Walter.
Right.
Yeah, and he's done lots of film work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was there a straight man? Was there a comedy angle?
Yes and no.
Right.
Some people might call me, because Mick's 3'11".
Yes.
And
Hence it's called Big Mick.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they might have classed me as a straight man, but I had the comedy as well. It more like a variety act, maybe.
It's very difficult for anyone who's watched you on stage to ever think of you as a straight man. You played in Breast Off. You played the role which was iconically played by Pete Postlethwaite, Danny in Breast Off, and that was I mean, it was an extraordinary play to watch. You did it at Marsden Parochial Hall, which is where we held the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and you had a full brass band there, which was incredibly emotional, and your part, of course, rings out the tears as well as the humour.
Oh, it was amazing because right at the back end of the show when Danny hands over his baton and his jacket to his grandson, my job then was to walk off stage and through the audience.
Yes.
And I could see them crying.
Oh, yes.
They were all crying.
Oh, yes. It was so heartfelt in that auditorium. I loved the show. I really enjoyed it. But Col, I don't want to take your time because I know you're rehearsing at the moment.
Yes.
So congratulations in another wonderful career-defining contract.
He's not on long.
He's not, but I think he will make the biggest impact.
Absolutely.
He's that flash cameo that we talked
Absolutely.
about.
I think this is the issue with the show in that there are certain cameos that could steal this.
Yeah.
Could steal this from
Freya.
all the
Freya,
people who were doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Joan and Jenny have some fantastic lines in there.
Yes,
There's some lovely little badinage, especially at the beginning of Act 2. I mean, we go into a few bits about, about medication. I'll tell you where this came from. My dad used to be in a folk group, and when he pulled the folk group back together again after about 30 years, what they used to do was spend the first half of every rehearsal discussing medication, back problems, the lot, and it became a running gag that they wouldn't get anything done. My dad would be sat there waiting with the microphones ready, where they'd still be discussing suppositories. And so It was a running gag, and so that's been brought into the beginning of Act 2 of Village Hall, which is when there's a creative writing group.
Yeah.
Right.
And Jenny and Joan aren't part of the creative writing group. They're part of a Knitter Natter group, which is
Just
called,
the two of them.
Just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
No one else could get a word in because they're discussing and moaning about gossip. That is when they gossip, and that's when they swap ideas. And so now they have to be included into the creative writing group, don't you?
Yeah. Ken sort of chips in now and again, and they don't like it.
Oh, no.
No.
No, I mentioned last week that Ken...
With the gossip, you mean?
He's sort of telling him to shut up because he's fed up of listening to them
Right.
moaning about their...
Ken is a published author.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yeah. Ken presents a poem called Voids. And Gareth, who's playing Ken, is just superb at this.
He is.
He's not playing it how we wrote it or how we intended it. He's playing in a far better way. He's treating a sordid, awful art house poem called Voids like it's Richard III. And he's performing it like, Voids! And it's awful.
We were crying laughing last week when we did it for the
But
first
they have to keep a straight face throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, that first one. It's an intriguing setup for Act 2, and it leads to a musical number that we discussed last week, which is called Wherever I Hear Music, and there's a build-up to that. Then after that, it starts going into a pantomime. And...
You have a starring role in that, I
I
believe.
do.
Yeah.
Fairy godmother.
So tell us how the pantomime starts to take shape and what's going on at the same time that you have to contend with.
I think it is just the panto rehearsal.
is it?
We're doing it tonight, actually. Tonight's rehearsal is the start of it. So we haven't set it as yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's a bit chaotic in the background with people painting scenery and making props. And so it's all to do with the pantomime. There's nothing else. They've caught up. By the end of Act 1, I think we've all caught up with the sharing of the village hall. So
Knitter Natter and
after that,
they go together. Originally, the pantomime was going to happen alongside a drop-in centre and for drug addiction and a food bank.
Okay.
They were going to combine the two. But I mean, it's a funny idea. But I promise you, there is so much going on this panto that I just simply ditched that idea. Right. And it's now, there's so much, it is just the panto.
Yeah.
And so the panto rehearsal happens, and as Lou says, there is painting of the scenery, there's also props getting involved, but also there's a dance troupe that arrive, led by Mrs. Jowett.
Mrs. Jowett.
Mrs. Jowett is a lovely character based on virtually every choreographer I used to work with, who is an old madam.
The old guard.
With the stick.
Yep, no, I can picture it.
Now then, girls,
Yes.
let's do this. That's Mrs. Jowett. And so everyone is terrified
who
of her.
Mel is particularly terrified
Absolutely
of.
terrified. Mel is playing Mel. And she tries to curtsy to Mrs. Jowett, and Mrs. Jowett looks at her unapprovingly as if her feet are in the wrong position. And that's a running gag throughout, is that Mel is utterly terrified of Mrs. Jowett. But they all are. In fact, the way we've done it is that Mrs. Jowett has her own dance group. And we've tried to brand them in similar T-shirts and things like that, so they can be, really a dance group that's come from reality. Because they do. They walk in and they do their thing, and then they go, and Mrs. Jowett says thank you, and off they go. However, we realised that we wanted to call her Beryl Jowett. Which, and when you got branded T-shirts.
Right, I know where this is going already.
Really?
Yeah,
Really? Can you spot
surprisingly.
this?
Yeah.
Go
Just
on.
to have the initials emblazoned on the
That's
t-shirts.
it.
I wonder what it could be, guys.
Yeah, the tagline is "Come dancing." So, if you haven't got that joke, don't worry.
You'll get it.
Don't worry.
You'll get
No, you'll never need to get it, because that joke is just simply for myself and for Neil and for the entire company. But yes, thank you.
Right, so on that smutty note, so when we get to the pantomime, your starring role then, so just tell us a little bit about what Joan and Jenny are doing. What's their involvement?
So Joan she's like the wicked stepmother, isn't she?
She is. It's Cinderella as the panto.
Yeah, Cinderella, sorry, is the panto. So Joan is playing the wicked stepmother, and I'm the fairy godmother.
And does that have any kind of semblance in the sense that the way you've written those characters? Was there a kind of reason why they're cast in those roles in particular?
Oh, yes. Because Jenny's fluffy and nice and Joan's evil. She's just evil.
Very much just the archetypes, just putting them into their box.
But also, I love the appearance of the fairy godmother, who halfway through the song, there's this sudden twiddly bit where Cinderella sings, I wish once, I wish twice, I wish thrice. And then Jenny says...
Is there a puff?
And then Mel, who's absolutely frantic at this, says, no, just say puff! Puff! And then she comes out and just says, puff, I am your fairy godmother. It's... the point is, we've cast this thing so well that these characters could say anything and you're going to fall apart. But my God, some of those lines that you and Mel have to deliver, it's just... It's all drawn from reality, because if you think about a parochial pantomime having to contend with PlayStations, special effects, mobile phones, all the attention,
all the glitz
suddenly it's got to be spectacular.
Yeah.
How do you do that on a stage?
In a village hall.
In a village
with
hall.
a much smaller budget
Yeah.
Exactly.
and a less kind of modern tech setup.
And
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
Mel and Jenny try and pull it off.
Yeah.
And
I
the
think-
puff, of course, is supposed to be a puff of smoke,
Yes.
some pyrotechnics.
Yeah, yeah.
some
What did you
sort
think
of
it was
special
going to be?
effects. Well, it's your musical. It could be anything. That's the benefit. When you write your own musical as well,
Yeah.
you can just put whatever you want in there and away you go. And where we are right now, Longwood Mechanics Hall, so I haven't performed here and I've not rehearsed here. Rich has, and you live very close by.
Road behind, yeah.
So have you performed and rehearsed here
I
as
have,
well?
yeah, many times. I think one of my children's birthdays was in here. We've had many quiz nights in here, but yeah, I've performed on the stage behind. I think I've organised a Christmas party where we had Father Christmas come and visit as well. But yeah, I did the showcase with Longwood.
Yeah.
And then I've helped with many other productions. I've even produced 2 shows here myself for a dance school many years ago, which was fun.
It's got an incredible history.
It has.
I think it's probably got more history than any of the village halls we've visited. It's called a mechanics hall because it was built, obviously, for the mechanics that used to run alongside the mill. Yeah, the mill is no longer there, but the mechanics hall still stands. And there's a magnificent downstairs area here. And that when this building became a school, it was occupied by the headmaster and the caretaker, and you can still see their apartments, and the library is still very much what you would imagine a headmaster's study would have looked like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an extraordinary building, and as you can see behind us, the stage is actually really well kitted out. Longwood Operatic Society have done musicals here. When they didn't want to do them at Lawrence Batley Theatre, they took this and had some incredible shows. Huddersfield Thespians have done shows here. I recently saw Mel here in a great production. It was based on Neville's Island, but it was a female version. Superb.
And as you say, it's got a really good setup, hasn't
Yeah.
it? Everything's all ready for you to just come straight in.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said you've organised, dance show things happening.
Oh, we've had a
You've
bouncy castle in here.
Yeah, well, they had a bouncy castle.
They
at
did,
Oxbridge
they did.
Village Hall, didn't they? But the fact that you've also had that experience of what Joan and Jenny would be doing,
Yeah,
in the sense that
organising.
you've been organising and making sure that things are happening, facilitating.
Yeah.
And when you're facilitating things like that, obviously you've got your tea urn and you've got your coffee and things like that. One of the plot's sort of elements that you've got for Joan and Jenny is their recycling and their approach to budgetary constraints. Talk us through something that potentially could be happening in a few village halls in
You
and
never
around
know.
the
It wouldn't
country.
surprise me. So they like to try and eck out the tea bags for as
Try
long
and
as they
eck
can.
them out.
Eck them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yorkshire
Is that the technical term?
It is, yeah. So they try and make them last as long as possible, because as you know, you can dunk a tea bag many times.
Many
So
times.
yes,
yeah.
they're
So
renowned
hang them
for.
out on the washing line to
Yeah,
dry out.
they literally do. I'll put them on the radiators and then use them again.
Well, why not?
Of course. I wouldn't mind if, as the person who wrote it, no, that comes from real life. I promise you, they used to do that. And the tea got progressively worse as you went on.
Well,
so
naturally.
by the time they'd been on the radiator 3 times, you're just drinking dishwater, basically, with a bit of milk in it.
Milky dish
Horrible.
water. Lovely. Fantastic. That sounds very refreshing, doesn't it? So, in terms of the actual rehearsals then, how are you finding that that side of things? Because as you said, you're never off stage really. You've always got to be busybodies doing things and going around and finding little things to talk about or to make sure is happening in and around the staging. With your double act with Charlotte, are you finding that the two of you are just constantly coming up with new ideas and bouncing ideas of, oh, well, we could do this and we could do that and try and, you know...
Kind of, yeah. I think Neil has a fantastic way of saying, he's got a brilliant eye for detail, and it's already written in the script what the intentions are for each scene. But sometimes he'll go, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we just did that, or shall we just change that bit to there, or so he's already thinking about every character on the stage, but in particular Jenny and Joan, who were busybodying in the background or going off and fetching some fairy lights and stealing extension cables. But yeah, I think Charlotte and I are also sort of bouncing off each other as to how to say things to each other to make it come across, because you can say something in two different ways and it can mean completely two different things, can't it? Yeah. But it needs to be relative to what is going on in that particular scene. So that's interesting, just finding out which way works best.
Have you ever had the chance to do something like this, where you've originated a part and you've been able to kind of really get to grips with the script, and then, like you say, kind of add and change elements where you've thought, actually, I think this will be more effective, or this will add something more to it?
Not really, no, I don't think so.
Well, you've been a part of pantos.
Yeah, pantos is a bit different.
It is. There's a set formula to it.
Yes, there is. Yeah, I mean, there was a certain panto that I did not that long ago where I was part of a double act, and through rehearsals, half of that double act decided to drop out. So my double act became just me.
A single act.
Yeah, but the script didn't change.
So you just became a dual role there?
Kind of, yeah, with two different accents. That was interesting. Yes.
Things can
multiple
develop.
Personalities.
Yeah. Indeed,
yes.
Yeah. Split screen.
That was a challenge, I have to say, yeah.
Of all the roles you've done at the Lawrence Batley Theatre, which have been your favourites?
Crikey.
You're particularly good in Sister Act. But having said that, you were great in Hairspray.
I came up to you after Hairspray, didn't I? And I said how fantastic you were.
I didn't intend to have that many cameos, to be fair. I don't know how it happened.
It was like, we need someone to deliver this part, and they need to make it really distinct from every other part. Let's just have the same actor do every single one.
And I was only supposed to be playing the prison warden.
That was one of my favourites.
That was the only,
yeah.
Oh no, your presence was throughout. I think we both said
every character was unique. Every character felt like a distinctly different person that wasn't just kind of a superfluous background character. Right. It was very much this person's pivotal to the plot and is helping to make it feel like a cohesive story.
Whereas with Village Hall, the entire company are having to do that and come up with a new character every time they set on stage. So Louisa's effectively got it quite easy with this one. She could just be one character.
Just be me with my smock on.
There's no dual role, you're always the same person.
And also dressed in effectively the same thing all the time. So
no costume changes.
There are costume changes because she's got to change into a fairy godmother,
of course.
And also there are various hats that they need to wear, including line dancing hats and so forth.
Got mine.
And you're going to have a lot of interaction with props as well, like you said, taking things off, bringing stuff on.
There's a heck of a lot of props. I feel very sorry for the props team. There's a lot going on back there.
There's no staging, so you have to put as much onto that stage as you can, and to make it look colourful and vibrant, and to sustain it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be 2 at the moment because the laughs are getting longer and longer and longer. So I remember with By George, when we were doing the script readings, we knew that the first act was 55 minutes and the second act was 45, 50. By the time the final show came on the Saturday night, it was an extra half an hour, genuinely. And you'd think that wouldn't happen with musicals, but because the laughs were so long and people were doing the lines perfectly, it does expand. I cannot wait to see how long the final Village Hall show lasts.
There's not specific moments in this musical that are going to necessarily be extended. I mean, obviously there's going to be things like Rocky's introduction. There's probably going to be things happening with the panto that are going to be, key elements or key beats where it's going to have extended laughter. But it's kind of like lots and lots of laughter littered throughout the whole musical, isn't it?
I'd hope so. It's got to have light and shade, but I mean, there is a laugh around every page somewhere. It doesn't just... Even when we're doing plot, myself and Maria would always think, right, come on, this is a comedy. So we weave in other things, like Patrick and Mel in the first opening exposition scene, when Patrick's in the lavatory and Mel has to deliver the toilet roll.
Funny.
And it's Mel.
It's her face when she comes on with the toilet roll, though.
But isn't it always Mel's face?
It is always Mel's face.
She is a comedy
Fantastic.
magnet, that girl.
She's great.
She's extraordinary. And I hope nobody minds that it was called Mel, because I did write it with Mel's voice in my head. I mean, genuinely, it's written for Mel, because I couldn't think of anyone else.
No.
I'm sure someone else could have done it. Other people auditioned for Mel.
There are people like Mel, as in the character Mel, in village halls up and down the country, aren't there?
Yeah.
But to find an actor who's going to give you that exact vibe that you want, it's quite rare.
She's perfect. But I mean, I can't see a flaw in the cast. I just can't see one. If there is one, it'll become apparent when we start running it. Yeah. But for now, it blows me away that we've got so much talent on that stage. I mean, look at the company.
Oh, the company's amazing. And the way they're adapting to each style of class that they have to do, it's hilarious.
Niobe, as a hockey player, I mean, she looks so violent. There's a load that look as if they're going to take your head off when they come through, which is exactly how they should. Yeah. It'll be
an interesting scene.
Are there any songs you're particularly looking forward to?
We need a favourite song.
I do love Unbreakable, because it is so twee.
It's so twee.
And
So tell us what happens.
So we all very much break character, and it's a very jazz hands. It's all about the rules of the village hall and how we love to follow them and what they all mean and what they all are. And bless Paige, who was playing Helen, she's just stood in the middle of us all writing all these rules, frantically looking, petrified. And when we set it, she wasn't there.
Right.
And we just ran it last week with her there for the first time. I said, that face there, that is exactly what you need to look like. She said, this is genuine fear.
Yeah, like deer in the headlights.
Very much so. But it is very funny, the way that Neil's done it. Very, very different. Every number's very different.
I think you said, didn't you, that it wasn't really written like that.
Absolutely
it was written
not.
very straight-laced, and it's very kind of, this is serious.
The rules,
But that's
to
not...
have that light and shade.
I don't want it the way I wrote it. The idea of collaboration is bringing people like Louisa in to contribute and say, I think this will be funny. You bring gags in and you make it funnier and funnier. Do you remember the first read-through? Not the first read-through, the first cast read that we did. It was a very dry reading. There weren't many laughs.
No,
we
were all sat in the round.
To try and give us an idea of perspective as to what this is going to look like. And it terrified me as a night. And Maria the same. Said, where are the laughs? Because everyone was a little bit stilted in the reading, as I've got to impress people with this. And so the laughs, the timing wasn't quite there. But also, all the visual gags and all the music wasn't there. Yeah. So we had an hour's read through of the lines, and it was just plot. Now that was essential to make sure that everyone knew the plot and they knew where this thing was going. Otherwise, this feels chaotic, totally chaotic. But it was genuinely worrying that maybe we hadn't got this right. And then the rehearsals started. And we haven't had a rehearsal yet that hasn't descended into absolute hysterics. It bodes so well for the show that these early settings are still inspiring. Waves of laughter.
I think when you're first reading through something, though, you can find that it is a bit of a dry run, isn't it? Like when I've done first read-throughs of stuff before, and I've either known what the joke is meant to be, or I know what the visual gag will roughly look like in my head. I'll sit there and sometimes laugh, and then notice that no one else, maybe because they've not read the script before, or they've not seen the show, or they don't really know the story very well. I just sat there very straight-laced and very, why is he laughing? And it is kind of awkward, but then I suppose that is also partly because that first cast read-through, there was people there who had never met each other. So, for example, with yourself and Joan, who Charlotte's playing, had you met each other before this at all?
No,
It's
that was the first time we met each other.
And it's interesting as well because, like you said, it was cast in pairs. So for the casting committee to look at your audition and look at Charlotte's audition and go, yep, that's a duo there. It must be it must be kind of reassuring to come to those first rehearsals and go, well, they know it's going to work. And now it's a case of us just
making it work
and getting to know each other.
I know Charlotte was very nervous. She was really nervous.
Yeah.
Because she's never done anything like that before.
And we'll hear from Charlotte in future episodes. So don't forget, click subscribe, folks. Get that like button tagged as well. But I love the way the interplay between the two, and I love the fact that it's working so well at the moment. I'm sure there'll be stumbling blocks. There's an awful lot to get your head around in this show, just blocking it doesn't mean it's going to be cohesive. Our job now is to make it cohesive and make it a viewable thing, especially with it being in the round with a hidden orchestra. It's insane to try and put this on.
Where are the orchestra going to be?
Well, that's up in the air at the moment, and they could literally be up in the air. Yeah. What other challenges have you come across being Jenny? Are you finding the dialogue easy? Is it sitting okay?
Yeah, the dialogue's quite easy. She's got quite a few good one-liners. Yeah. And I think the challenge with any good one-liner is making sure you've got the timing right in the delivery. Yeah. So that will be, and obviously making sure that the person you're following gives you the cue correctly. So otherwise it doesn't work. So that's always a challenge, making sure your funny one-liners come across properly.
Obviously with By George, it was set definitively in Yorkshire, hence Yorkshire born and bred. With this, the Village Hall and Cheeley itself, they are set in Yorkshire for this production, but they don't have to be for any other. No. And so cast members are making decisions on what type of accent to use for their character, what they think fits the dialogue and fits the plot and fits their own performance. How have you, and also Charlotte, I guess we'll find out, but how have you approached Jenny and who she is, where she's from, what accent she's going to use?
Well, I think we've both gone with Yorkshire, very much, but tried to be broader, just to make it come across as a more Yorkshire accent. And again, going back to what you said about who you're sort of drawing your experience from for that role, I can kind of hear them in my head. So it's the tea ladies from when we were in the green room at the theatre when we were kids. That's right. And if you touch that Jaffa cake, oof. Do not touch the last Jaffa cake. But yeah, so it's their kind of how they came across in my head as to where I'm drawing that kind of character from. Yeah. And with the accent, I think we've all kind of gone very Yorkshire.
To an extent. There are certain people who aren't doing it, and they're doing it for a very good reason. They want to be seen as being above or want to be seen to be separate. So these are great choices by people. I wouldn't argue with any of them, but it's their choice, not mine. Do you have a favourite line, just as we're wrapping up?
She's got some good ones.
Oh, not necessarily yours. Could be anybody's.
Oh, there's, again, so many good ones. I do quite like Jenny's line in Act 2, the opening of Act 2, where she's talking to Joan, and they're obviously in a very little bubble with their knit and natter. Yeah.
Discussing ailments.
She can, discussing ailments, and she can hear Ken chipping away in the background at them, but obviously indirectly. Yeah. And she just sort of says, I can't see things close up nowadays, but I can spot a pillock at 40 paces. That is a great one. And she just sort of puts her glasses down and looks at Ken. But yeah, that's probably one of my favourites.
I love Jenny and Joan. I think it'll be an incredible thing to watch. But we've got to tell them how they can watch it, Matt.
We have indeed. So what we can do is we can put this fancy little QR code just in front of Louisa, and if you scan that QR code, it'll take you through to thelbt.org. You could also type that in if you didn't want to scan the QR code, but why not scan it? Because it'll take you straight through to the Village Hall page where you can book your tickets, can't you, Rich?
You can indeed. There's still a lot of tickets still to go, folks. There's plenty of time to go. We've got another 2 months until the opening of the show, but I would say that we noticed the pattern with By George in that tickets started to really fly out over the summer months. So do be careful and make sure you get them in while you can.
So that's to see the world premiere performance of the Village Hall.
Running from the 10th to the 13th of September.
At the LBT. But in the meantime, you can keep updated with everything we're doing on the podcast, seeing all the village halls that we're going around, all of the village hall committee members that we're chatting to, and of course our cast members of the world premiere. And what they can do is they can subscribe, can't they, Rich?
They can indeed.
To your Richard Sykes YouTube channel. It's handy he named it after himself.
You know, just a coincidence.
Exactly.
I don't know why.
And if you're struggling to find it, or you want to learn any more about this man and his musicals and all of his inspirations, where can they head to, Rich?
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go onto my website? You'll be amazed to hear that's got my name attached to it as well. www.richsykes.com, and you can find it all there.
And if you'd like to, you can, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. As we said, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's wherever you get your podcasts from, essentially.
Plenty of Instagram content coming too.
Exactly. At the Village Hall Musical. So, thank you very much for joining us, Louisa.
Thanks for having
Longwood
me.
Mechanics Hall. It's been fantastic to have a little look around.
Genuinely superb looking around Longwood Mechanics Hall. Great building, great facility for the local community. And next week, we'll be somewhere different completely.
We will indeed. So, goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.